My name is Elena Vasquez, and for years, I was just another cog in the vast machinery of Silicon Valley's tech giants. But let me take you back to where it all began, the dimly lit corners of my apartment, where innovation wasn't born in boardrooms, but in the quiet hours after midnight. I was a senior software engineer at Nexus Tech, a company that prided itself on being at the forefront of AI-driven cybersecurity. Our products protected Fortune 500 companies from data breaches, but behind the glossy marketing, it was people like me who did the heavy lifting. It started 18 months ago. Nexus Tech was facing a crisis. Our flagship product, Sentinel Guard, was outdated. Hackers were evolving faster than our defenses, and competitors were nipping at our heels. The C-suite demanded a breakthrough, something revolutionary. That's when I dove in. I wasn't assigned to it officially, it was my passion project, fueled by endless cups of coffee and a burning desire to prove myself in a male-dominated field. I developed what I called QuantumShield, a proprietary code that used quantum-inspired algorithms to predict and neutralize threats in real time. It wasn't just an upgrade, it was a paradigm shift. Traditional antivirus software reacted to attacks. QuantumShield anticipated them, learning from patterns across global networks with unprecedented accuracy. I built it from scratch, iterating through thousands of lines of code on my personal laptop, syncing commits to a private Git repository I'd set up on a secure server. No team, no oversight, just me, wrestling with complex neural networks and encryption protocols until the sun came up. Those late-night sessions were grueling. I'd come home from a full day at the office, kiss my cat Whiskers goodnight, and lose myself in the glow of my dual monitors. There were moments of despair, bugs that seemed insurmountable, algorithms that crashed spectacularly. But then came the breakthroughs. The first successful simulation where QuantumShield detected a simulated zero-day exploit before it even executed. I remember jumping out of my chair, fist pumping the air like I'd won the lottery. This wasn't just code. It was my life's work, poured into every variable and function. By month 12, I knew I had something special. I started hinting at it in team meetings, sharing snippets without revealing the full scope. My direct supervisor, Mark Harrington, the VP of Engineering, took notice. Mark was the epitome of corporate arrogance, a tall, silver-haired executive in his 50s with a Harvard MBA and a penchant for golf outings with the CEO. He was charming in that slick salesman way, but I always sensed the shark beneath the surface. "Elena, this sounds promising," he'd say in his polished baritone. "Keep me in the loop. We could use a win like this." I trusted him. Why wouldn't I? He was my boss, and in the cutthroat world of tech, loyalty was supposed to flow upward. So I shared more. Prototypes, test results, even access to my repo for feedback. Little did I know, I was handing him the keys to my kingdom. The turning point came during a company-wide hackathon. I presented a demo of QuantumShield, and the room erupted. Colleagues high-fived me. Even the interns were buzzing. Mark pulled me aside afterward. "This is gold, Elena. Let's fast-track the patent. I'll handle the paperwork. You focus on polishing the code." I was thrilled. A patent meant recognition, maybe a promotion, certainly a bonus. We filed it quickly, with Mark assuring me my name would be listed as the primary inventor. The celebration was electric. Champagne in the break room, toasts to team innovation. I went home that night floating on cloud 9, dreaming of how this would change my career. But dreams can turn to nightmares overnight. 2 weeks later, I received the official patent documents via email. My heart raced as I opened the PDF. There it was. QuantumShield, Adaptive Quantum-Inspired Cybersecurity Protocol. Inventor, Mark Harrington. Sole inventor. My name? Nowhere. Not even in the acknowledgements. I stared at the screen, disbelief washing over me like ice water. This couldn't be right. I double-checked the filing number, refreshed the page. Nothing. My contributions, my 18 months of solitude and sweat, erased. I was listed in the company records as a contributor, but legally it was his. The confrontation happened the next day in his corner office, with its panoramic view of the Bay Area. I marched in, printout in hand, my voice steady despite the rage bubbling inside. "Mark, what is this? My name's not on the patent. I created QuantumShield from concept to code. You know that." He leaned back in his leather chair, steepling his fingers like some movie villain. "Elena, calm down. This is standard procedure. It's work for hire. Anything you develop while employed here belongs to Nexus Tech. I led the team, so my name goes on it. It's for the company's protection." Led the team? There was no team. It was me, alone, on my own time. He smirked, that condescending twist of his lips I'd come to loathe. "Your own time? Using company resources, company knowledge. Come on, Elena, you're smarter than this. Accept it. You'll get a nice bonus when it launches. Don't rock the boat." I left his office shaking, not with fear, but with fury. He thought I was expendable, just another woman in tech who'd swallowed the injustice to keep her job. He was wrong. That day I decided I wouldn't just fight back, I'd dismantle his empire. Revenge, as they say, is a dish best served cold, and with irrefutable proof. I didn't rush into anything. Instead, I went home and methodically began building my case. First things first, the digital paper trail. My private Git repo was a goldmine. Every commit was timestamped, encrypted with my personal key. I had logs dating back to the very first line of code, long before I shared anything with Mark. I exported everything. Thousands of entries showing iterations, comments, even debug notes that referenced my personal life, like fixed after whiskers knocked over my coffee. Note to self, cat-proof desk. But I needed more. I recalled that during early testing, I'd run simulations on a secure VPS, virtual private server, I'd rented under my name. The server logs were pristine, IP addresses, timestamps, data packets, all proving I was the sole architect. I downloaded backups, notarized them digitally, and stored copies on multiple encrypted drives. Next, I reached out to colleagues discreetly. Not everyone was blind to Mark's antics. There was Sarah, my cubicle neighbor, who'd seen me burning the midnight oil. "Elena, I remember you demoing that algo months before Mark even mentioned it," she whispered over coffee. I got her to sign an affidavit, along with 2 others. Raj from QA, who tested early versions, and Lisa from Legal, who'd overheard Mark bragging about his invention in a meeting. But the real game changer was consulting a tech IP attorney. I found Dr. Amelia Cortez through a Reddit thread on r/legal advice, a fierce Latina lawyer in her 40s, specializing in intellectual property theft in Silicon Valley. We met at a nondescript cafe in Palo Alto, away from prying eyes. "Ms. Vasquez, this is textbook misappropriation," she said, scanning my evidence. "Work for hire applies to assigned tasks, but if this was your independent innovation, even partially on your time, we can argue originality. The key is proving he intentionally scrubbed your name." We mapped out the strategy. Nexus Tech was gearing up for their quarterly launch at the Global Tech Summit in Vegas, a billion-dollar event where QuantumShield would be unveiled. If we could hit them with an injunction, freezing the rollout, the pressure would be immense. Leverage points, Amelia called them. The company's stock would tank, investors would panic, and the board would turn on Mark like wolves. I spent weeks gathering more. Emails where I'd outline the concept to Mark, his responses praising my work, carefully worded to avoid credit, and even a forensic analysis of the final code. It matched my repo 98%, only cosmetic changes to hide the theft. One night, as I pored over logs, I found the smoking gun. A deleted email chain from Mark to the patent attorney, instructing them to remove any secondary inventors to streamline ownership. He tried to cover his tracks, but I recovered it from my archived inbox. Jackpot. With the paper trail solid, we prepared our assault. Amelia filed the lawsuit quietly. Elena Vasquez versus Mark Harrington and Nexus Tech Incorporate. Claims: misappropriation of trade secrets, breach of implied contract, and fraud. We demanded full intellectual ownership, back royalties, and damages. But we didn't stop there. We requested a temporary restraining order, TRO, to halt any use of QuantumShield pending resolution. 48 hours before the Global Tech Summit, we struck. Amelia's team served the papers at 9 a.m. sharp. I imagine the scene: process servers marching into Nexus Tech's gleaming headquarters, handing the documents to a stunned receptionist. By noon, the executive wing was in chaos. I got the call from Amelia. It's done. The judge granted the TRO. Product launch frozen. No demos, no sales, nothing until the court rules. The panic was palpable even from afar. Social media lit up, tech bloggers speculating on the mysterious delay at Nexus Tech's booth. Stock dipped 12% in after-hours trading. Investors were furious. The board called an emergency meeting. Mark tried to reach me, of course. Voicemails pleading, then threatening. Elena, this is career suicide. Drop it, and we'll make it right. I ignored them, letting my lawyer handle the noise. The court ordered a forensic audit of Mark's devices. That's when things got juicy. A team of experts descended on his office, imaging his hard drive, phone, everything. They found it. Metadata deletions. He'd wiped timestamps linking back to my code, but fragments remained. Enough to prove intent. I watched from the sidelines as the summit unfolded without QuantumShield. Competitors swooped in, stealing the spotlight. Nexus Tech's CEO, a no-nonsense woman named Victoria Lang, was reportedly livid. Whispers in the industry: Harrington's ego just cost them billions. The injunction paralyzed the boardroom. Meetings dragged into the night. Lawyers scrambled. They knew, if this went to trial, the exposure would be catastrophic. Not just financial, reputational ruin in an industry where trust is currency. The deposition was my coliseum, and Mark was the gladiator about to fall. We convened in a sterile conference room in downtown San Francisco. Me, Amelia, Mark, his phalanx of corporate attorneys, and a court reporter. Mark looked haggard, bags under his eyes, tie askew. Gone was the smug executive. In his place, a man cornered. Amelia started slow, building the trap. Mr. Harrington, please explain the core algorithm of QuantumShield. Walk us through the quantum-inspired prediction model. He stammered, reciting buzzwords. It's, based on entangled states simulating threat vectors. But when she pressed for specifics, code structures, optimization techniques, he faltered. I delegated that to the team. Which team? Miss Vasquez claims she developed it solo. Can you name one line of code you wrote? Sweat beaded on his forehead. I oversaw it. The vision was mine. We played the recordings, colleagues' testimonies, my repo logs projected on screen. Then, the deleted emails. His lawyers objected furiously, but the judge overruled. By the end, Mark was broken. He admitted, under oath, that he'd adapted my work, claiming it as his to secure the patent swiftly. The corporate hierarchy crumbled that day. The board, reviewing the transcript, saw the liability: potential class action from other employees, SEC scrutiny. Victoria Lang called an emergency vote. Mark was out. I heard he was escorted from the building by security, box of belongings in hand. Humiliating, poetic justice. With Mark exposed, we presented the ultimatum. Lift the injunction in exchange for total IP restoration? No. We demanded more. In settlement talks, Amelia laid it out. Full ownership to me, backdated royalties on all pre-launch prototypes, already licensed to beta clients, and $5 million in damages. Nexus Tech could license QuantumShield from me as an independent entity. They balked at first, but the frozen launch loomed. Investors threatened to pull out. Finally, they caved. The agreement was signed in a week. I owned QuantumShield outright. Royalties poured in, millions from units sold under Mark's name. Nexus Tech became my client, paying handsomely to use what was once theirs. Mark? Fired, blacklisted. Last I heard, he was consulting for some no-name startup, a shadow of his former self. As for me, I left Nexus Tech on my terms, founded Vasquez Innovations, licensing QuantumShield to the industry, from suppressed employee to empire builder. Reflecting now, it's not just about the money, it's the power. I took back what was mine, shattered the glass ceiling he tried to reinforce. If you're out there, facing similar betrayal, remember, evidence is your sword, patience your shield. Fight smart, and the arrogant will fall. And that's my story. If it inspires even one person to stand up, it's worth every late night.